Hello, good people of the internet, and welcome to the Freak Review, where we talk about good music. This is the best of the bunches. We are talking about the best albums of 2012. Let's not waste any more time. What's this, some no-name folk-flavored indie alt-rock songwriter? Yeah, pretty much. Rivera earns a spot in this list with some masterful production, some great songwriting, and making what should be a very average album as something much more. He's able to sell what most people would pass off as pretty mediocre ideas. He's comfortable with both catchy shuffle beats and introspective post-rock influenced work, and that versatility and passion goes a long way. Keep an eye out for this guy in the future.
I'm so goddamn insecure, and I can never let my guard down. This little free tell me I'm just thinking of...
Wait a second, you say. Every self-respecting critic and their mother hates this album. What's it doing here? Well, apparently I have no self-respect. The reason most critics don't like this album is, quite frankly, they never learned to take a joke. Muse's latest is so far over the top that it simply can't be taken seriously, and that's precisely why it's so good. Muse's always taken themselves just a bit too seriously for all their grandstanding. Seriously, I don't know how they wrote The Resistance with a straight face. And so on the second law, they finally learned to lighten up, and they made their best music in the process.
Because I choose to thrive.
As I've said time and time again in my mini review of this album and in my best songs video, when you mix frantic screams, gorgeous melodies, and insightful lyrics like Showbread does, you get my attention. Props to the band for figuring out a way to get their Christian message out there without sacrificing artistic integrity or even lyrical quality. Lots of bands in the industry should take notes. While it hasn't aged extremely well over this year, it's still hard to beat this band for straightforward, easily accessible metalcore. This rises above the genre's wimpy, sceney tendencies, relying on intensity and ferocity instead of cheap gimmicks. This album is proof that you don't need clean vocals to create a gorgeous chorus either, though some more variety probably would have bumped this up in the rankings a little bit. It's very strong for what it is. This album redefined the concept of genuine emotion for me. It's no longer a matter of a singer desperately trying to convince me of how he feels by being louder and by being more over the top than the next guy. Joey Vannucci is just believable. You can never consider that a single word is being forced. It's not understated, it's not overstated, it's exactly what it needs to be, and you believe every second of it. Oh, and his bandmates do a pretty good job of selling it too. I have a sneaky feeling that this band's third album is really going to make some waves, but in the meantime, this is a pretty impressive breakthrough.
I am always without her. Where is she now? I can only search for answers outside.
Okay, so it's not as good as The End is Not the End, but House of Heroes still has a lot to offer. This album sounds designed to fill stadiums, and it does that quite well. Its energy and confidence has set this album apart from its peers. This is the sound of a band who knows what they're doing, and they're going to have a good time doing it, and they're doing it all well.
You live on like a little piece of greatness. If you got shots you wanna say, better hope it buries me. If I go out this...
I'm so happy that I can honestly put an Anberlin album in my top 5 of the year again. I was worried after New Surrender and Darkest the Way, I really was. It seems kind of hypocritical to say that a punk pop band was getting too poppy and too radio friendly, but I thought the band was losing a lot of what made them great. But here we have Vital, and it's not the Anberlin I knew and loved. It's the new, mature version of the band that I love. Musically, this is way more complex and diverse than anything Anberlin's had in their discography. Yeah, it's more diverse than Cities, and they've managed to incorporate synthesizers in a way that sounds appropriate and tasteful. Wow, didn't know it was possible these days. Sorry for doubting you, Anberlin. Surging into the top 3 after I couldn't stop listening to it for about a month, this is a gorgeous work of synth pop that doesn't shy away from tough lyrical topics. The bubbly instrumentals can't hide the raw emotion present in this work of art. Every listen reveals something else new and exciting, and every song has at least one shining moment, and nobody should pass this up. This album is by no means consistent. There are 2 or 3 tracks or so that I like to forget and I usually skip. But the high points are so unbelievably high, at least for me, that it just doesn't matter. The very concept of technical punk pop isn't new, but Icarus the Owl executed so well that I just don't care. They make ridiculous time signatures seem perfectly natural. They avoid the one-upsmanship that derails a lot of prog while still keeping their music relatable. Everything is surprisingly catchy, and yes, they're still really good at their instruments. Love this album, and I can't wait to see what the band does next. Oh, come on, as if you didn't see this coming. That's right, everyone, your favorite punk pop band from middle school is back with their best album, and it happens to be my favorite album of this year. No, it's not that innovative, but in this case, it doesn't matter. They don't reinvent the wheel, this is just a really shiny, perfectly made wheel. This is what thousands of punk pop bands aspire to be: youthful without being stupid, mature without being boring, catchy without being robotic, and above all, believable and genuine. This is what happens when punk pop grows up but remembers what made it great. Every song carves out its own identity and pulls at a different heartstring. Yes, everyone, this is the album of the year, hands down, no questions asked. Why aren't you listening to it right now?
It's been forever long. Adventures come and gone, and I'm left alone, but not let down.
I'm done for 2012. Have a happy new year. Go listen to good music, everybody.